Gauteng police say security forces are continuing to monitor areas in Soweto affected by taxi violence. This after 6 people were injured yesterday following an exchange of gunfire, allegedly between the members of the two organizations. 10 vehicles were also damaged. It's believed they were fighting over control of the routes, which is used by WATA and NANDUWE taxi associations. Gauteng Transport MEC Ismail Vadi says he intends to close the ranks for 3 months, and the MEC joins me now live on the line. MEC, good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for coming through. What seems to be the problem here?
I think the problem is really an ongoing conflict between WATA and NANDUWE around the routes and the terms of the operating licenses. You will remember that in July 2017, I was forced to close down the routes altogether for a month. We did that, and an agreement was reached between the two parties. Unfortunately, from then till December last year, we've had really no problems. But in the last 2 months or so, from January and February this year, we've had a number of killings. And as you've indicated in your report, a number of vehicles have been damaged. And then yesterday there was a shootout and 6 people have been hospitalized. So this is a situation that we just can't accept. And as the government, we have to act against it.
So a notice on the planned closures will be published, of course, in the Provincial Government Gazette. And then what happens, MEC?
Well, the notice will be published by this afternoon in the Provincial Gazette. We've given the affected and interested parties up to tomorrow afternoon to respond to my intention to close down the ranks. I will have to consider whatever representation that might be coming through from the interested parties, and then I'll make a decision by Friday morning.
So are you looking for a permanent closure of this rank, or is it just temporary? Because some reports indicate that if that happens, it will only close until June of this year.
Well, my notice indicates that it will be a possible closure for 3 months. Remember, it's 3 months of no business for the taxi operators if I do shut down the ranks. So it's going to pinch their pockets, yeah.
But what do you think the long-lasting solution should be in this problem? As you say, you intervened in July of 2017, but obviously an agreement was signed by two organizations, or two associations rather, but it looks like the situation is not changing.
I think the bottom of this is really a conflict, it's a fight over money. And what is important is really that the operators must abide by the conditions of the operating licenses. They must not bring in illegal operators onto the scene. And then, of course, we need, where the police are doing their investigations, as they've been doing for a number of years around this, is really to get some criminal prosecutions underway.
You've surely sat down with both organizations, both associations, MEC. What exactly are they saying? Are they even willing to resolve this impasse?
Well, my officials met with them last week, Friday, and again on Monday this week. And we had cautioned them that, look, if this kind of conflict continues, I will have to take the inevitable step that the law allows me to do. And unfortunately, even after those meetings, with all the appeals that were made, there was a shootout at 5 o'clock or so yesterday morning in which 6 people were injured and about 7 or 8 vehicles severely damaged. So that's a situation that's completely unacceptable. I met with the law enforcement personnel yesterday. I've had to meet with the municipal authorities yesterday. And the collective decision, it was a unanimous decision, is that we should shut down these ranks if we can.
Hence, I was asking about the long-term solution to the problem, because the reality is commuters and ordinary citizens are in most cases caught in between these attacks.
Well, the law allows us to confiscate and to terminate operating licenses of perpetrators of violence. So that's going to be the next step. If we have persistent reports of certain individuals within the taxi industry and certain operators continuously engaging in violence, we can terminate their license altogether. And that's going to be the inevitable step here.
All right. Thank you so much for coming through. That's Gauteng MEC for Transport, Ismail Vadi, joining me on the line, of course, saying that if there is no long-term solution to the problem between WATA and NANDUWE taxi associations, he will have to permanently close down this taxi rank.